Hey everybody, Kevin here with Kevin's Way Works. So behind me here, I have a Breville toaster oven that's having issues. So let's go ahead, open it up, see if we can figure out what's wrong with it. All right, everybody, here she is. I have it on convection. Let's go ahead, turn it on, let you guys hear the sound it's making. So what's going on is inside here there's a fan, and for some reason it is rubbing on something, and I'm not sure why. I hear these are a pain to get open, but we're gonna go ahead and see if we can figure it out. So our problem resides with the wheel on the other side of this. Oh no. I'm hoping the wheel's just lopsided. It sounds like, oh, you know what it might be, guys? And I've had this happen with these motors before. There's like a pot metal, there's a little clip in the middle, and that clip pops out of the pot metal, and when it does, the bushings and everything fall off the other side, the spacers that hold everything on, they fall off, and you end up with that sound. Now, I don't know if this camera focuses this close, so I'll do this with my other camera too, that will focus this close. See right here, see these little things right here? Now they're gone. See it popping out every once in a while? That's exactly what it is. The little mechanism that holds those in place popped out. But like I said, I think we have to take the entire thing off to get to the other side in order to fix that. I don't know that we can fix that without taking the whole thing apart. I don't know how, if this is pressed on or what, I don't know how that comes off. I don't see any screws or anything holding it in. It might be pressed in. Oh no, it's got like a little, it does have a regular tip on this side, so maybe this is just screwed on. Hopefully they didn't use Loctite. Alrighty, there it is. I'm guessing because that plate's messed up, it's causing it to rub on the inside here. Tell you what we're gonna do. Let's take this board off. So now this is completely free of the unit. Let's go ahead and move everything else out of the way, see if we can figure out how to take this apart. All right, guys, I managed to get this plate off. I had to bend these tabs to get this off as well. What I'm trying to figure out is how you get this fan blade off without breaking it. I've already messed up the pinch connection there. I don't really have a bit I can fit down in there. It looks like that should unscrew. But then how do you get the other side out? I think they had some thread locker on that. I didn't want you getting that off. Why is that catching? Did I damage the edge of that? Oh, I did. I damaged it. I damaged it a little bit. Remember which way these went on and came apart, okay? Paying attention? We have a problem because I don't know how to get it. I don't know how this side is attached. My guess is it's got some thread locker on there too. So it looks like it's reverse thread. A lot of reverse thread. Holy cow. Got it. It's reverse thread, guys. Got it. Let's put this out of the way. Holy cow. We had a torch out. Oh my goodness, we had all sorts of stuff. That was fun. That was fun, guys. I hope that got on camera in some way, shape, or form. So anyway, there's nothing wrong with the fan. Fan's not the issue. And if you look here, these are reverse threads. That's why they're hard to get off. Plus, I think it has some type of crazy thread locker on it. So reverse thread on the inside, regular thread on the outside. You gotta be careful with the outside because it's just pressed on. This little fan is just pressed on with a press. So it spins on this little center hub. So now what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to take a punch and just punch down a little bit so it doesn't turn anymore. Anyhow, there's that. So now let's get to the actual problem. So see these little rings in here? So what those are is basically the same thing you see here. A little different than what you see here, actually, now that I look at it. So this side actually rides on a bearing. So what's happening is these things are getting in here and they're getting jammed up and they're keeping things from spinning. But it's supposed to be pressed in, and then it's been knocked down with the aluminum's been bent over to hold it in place. But as you can see, it popped out. And that's causing this to be able to move and back out, and then the fan is going to end up rubbing. So that's your problem. So that's what's happening. It has nothing to do with needing to lubricate it. None of those videos you're watching are giving you the right information. It's because this is popping out and then it's riding out of the hub, and then the fan is rubbing either this way or that way against the inside of the case. So basically the fan's rubbing and it can't spin. So that's the problem. Now I'm curious as to how these go in. That's what I'm curious about. Guys, those actually did nothing. Those are just spacers. These screws, they're just spacers. They don't do anything other than create a space so this stays out and doesn't get pressed in against the fan. Well, that's not the right fix. But anyway, that's why unscrewing those did nothing. They don't actually unscrew. This one's a little loose. Be careful, if you get your fingers in there, you'll pinch them. Ask me how I know. I've done it before a few times. Okay. Spacers. That's all they are. This is held in with these little bent over pieces of metal. That's it. Woo! This is going to be fun. So now, here's the hard part. Here's the hard part. Is that how do we get that pushed back in place? How did they get this in? How else would you get it on? Unless it was pressed on. It might have been pressed on from the outside, so we might be able to pull that bearing off without damaging it, and then we'd have to press it back on. You got to decide, is it worth all this work? This is a lot of work just to have a convection to finish cooking the food a little faster. I really don't know. I do want to see if I can get that off somehow though. Let me go see if I can find a tool that'll fit in there. And I don't know if you're going to find another part like this. This really looks like a custom part to me. Yeah, I don't know how we're going to get that off. All right, so we got a problem. I can't press it off over the end here because it's mushroomed from the fan being tightened onto it. So I have to take a little file and I'm going to file it around the edge, kind of round it over a little bit so it'll come off. Don't have to go much, just knock off that lip on there So that bearing will come up and over the edge. Let me get my magnifier down there so I can see. It's pretty good. Be careful you don't damage your threads with anything while you're doing this. I know, guys, this is crazy. But you know what? It doesn't work anyway. It's not like I can break it any worse than it is. I'm going to do this off camera just because it's out in a different shop and I don't have good lighting, but I'll be back when I have this off. All right, everybody, I just wanted to show you some of the things I've been using to press this bearing and the rotor and the shaft in and out. So to get this and this, separated, I took a piece of scrap metal, cut a little notch in it, made sure it could fit in between, well, actually this side, made sure it can fit between here and here. And then let's see if I can get this mocked up and try and do this one-handed. This has nothing, this little piece has nothing to do with this right now. So let's say we had this pressed on like that. This piece would go in here like this, right? So basically it rides in between here and here. And then this guy, I couldn't find a piece of EMT tubing at my house that was the right diameter, so I just smushed a little piece. And so this one would go inside here, this like this, and then this like this, and then you just use your press and you just push this guy up and off. That's how you do it. All right, guys, I managed to get it off. Bearing removal successful. So now you can see what I meant about how this is supposed to go. So this is supposed to go in here and hold everything tight. And when that came out, it allowed this rubber, the bearing to move in the rubber like that. And so it allowed the fan to get too close to somewhere and rub. Now I'm not sure where it was rubbing. It didn't even have to rub much. It's just a tiny, tiny bit is all that it needed to stop it from moving. So what we have to do is try to figure out how to get this back in here and then get the edges bent over a little bit more to hold it in. So I'm not sure. I've done these before. I've almost never been successful at getting them to stay in there permanently. They just always seem to pop out. So we're gonna see if we can figure it out. This piece right here, I think, moved on the shaft, so we're gonna have to press that back into place as well when we try to get this all back together. This ought to be interesting, guys. So let's see if we can figure out how to get this back in. And then we've got to get this bearing pressed back on. All right, so I did dent this a little bit, trying to get it in place or get it off. I think what I'll do is I'll take a socket that fits in there and I'll just give it a tap. That'll straighten it out. Let me do that off camera. Oh my goodness. All right, I have a punch. I mean, I can't believe that pops out like that. How does that pop out? It's just crazy to me. And that manages to pop out. I don't know if I can do this without damaging it. Got that one under. Got that one under. Got that one under too. How does that pop out though? I just don't see how in the world that manages to pop out. But anyhow, that is what it's supposed to look like. See how that's in there? These are supposed to be pressed down to hold that ring in place, so it holds that bearing in place, because if it pops out, the bearing can ride out of what's holding it in place, because there's just enough, there's enough wiggle room in between everything here. And I guess you could put a spacer on these to help keep that from happening, but I do know, like I said, I know that this moves, so we're gonna have to put this back in the motor, get everything hooked up, and kind of make sure everything is in line with each other. And then we still have to fix that also. So to fix that, I'm going to try it with a punch first. We'll go ahead and give it a little bit of a punch. If that doesn't work, I'll take it down to the shop and we'll find a piece of metal we can punch that down with. And it may be a little bent afterwards, and we can always just bend it into place by hand. So this went in here like this. This went on the outside. This fed through this way. We just have to get it all lined up. And that's gonna be some fun, let me tell you. Kevin gets into the craziest projects. See, that one held up good. That one held in place just fine. No issues with that. All right, I'm gonna take a break, come back to this in a little bit. Alrighty, I think I have a plan devised here. What I'm gonna do, all right, I'm gonna see if you guys can get a little lower like that. I'm gonna take my punch, and I already tested it on one, and I punched a hole on each side and it pushed the aluminum out a little further. So I'm going to do the same thing on another one. Let's see what happens. So I think that is moving it out enough to where it should give it more holding power. Keep your fingers crossed. Am I moving the camera? I hope my head's not in the way. I hope my head's not in the way. That would stink. I did the whole thing. My fat head was in the way. I feel my hair hitting it. Maybe it's not hitting it. Maybe it's my imagination. Sometimes they make this metal so thin that you do this and it breaks it. So far it's going okay. All right, that's all of them, guys. I'm gonna call that good. And just in case this camera doesn't pick that up real good, I'm gonna get it with my phone camera. Phone camera, oh yeah, that's a nice picture. I'm gonna take a couple pictures. We'll put some pictures on the screen. Let's take a little video. Oh no, what are we doing? I just want a straight up video. Straight up, no, not portrait. There we go, straight video. There we go, guys. Is that focusing? Look at that. We took the punch. We took the punch and punched that all down around. And hopefully that's going to hold it in forever. Only time will tell, though. Let's get this thing back together. All right, guys, there you go. So, got it back in there. Let's go ahead, get everything mocked up. I can't put this on yet because once I press this in, it's going to be a pain to press back out. So I want to try to get everything lined up, mocked up without this pressed in, just to make sure my distances are correct. Because like I said, I know this moved on the shaft a little bit. So I'm going to have to press this back, think this way a little bit. So that's on the shaft in the correct position. Once that's good and in place, we'll go ahead and we'll press the bearing on. Gotta be careful, because if you go too far, then you've gone too far, and you gotta try to get it off again. So we got lucky getting it off the first time. The second time may not be so lucky. But anyway, let's go ahead and get that thing mocked up. And if it looks good, I'll press it on. All right, so the shaft moved a little bit. So what I want to do is press this back down into place. I'm guessing about a little over 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/16 of an inch. So I have a aluminum, this is a little piece of aluminum with a hole drilled in it, and it just fits right on the edge of that collar there. And hopefully that'll be sufficient to be able to press this down. I think it will be. I don't think the aluminum's even going to deform any, and I think it should just go press that down, no problem. I have it on a 1-ton arbor press. Well, let's go see what happens here. Give it a little pressy press. I'm gonna have to extend the arm just a hair. And of course, it's right in a position where I'm not getting maximum force. I have to kind of pull forward. There we go, look at that. Yeah, guys, that went down like no problem. So I'm gonna stop right there, and then I'm gonna test that out. We'll see if we pushed it through too far, or if it's just right, or if it's not enough, and we'll go from there. So I put the motor back in place. What we're gonna do is we're kind of gonna get this about right where it needs to go. And to me, I think where it needs to be is to where this steel section in the middle here is centered right in the middle of the motor. So right about there is where it's gonna go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spin the fan on this side, and we're gonna test fit it and see if everything feels good. So as it is right now, it looks like it's sticking out about under 1/8 of an inch, about 1/8 of an inch, which I think is exactly where we want it. So let's go ahead and test fit this, and we'll see what happens. Remember, this one spins on backwards. Okay, don't tighten it up too tight to where you can't get it off. I think we might have to go a little more. Maybe not. Maybe actually we might be pretty good right there. And that is considering that is if that is the correct space. And that's going to determine. That's going to be determined by the bearing. Let's see what we've got. So I believe it goes like this. Well, I'm just going to turn it so it sits. So if it's halfway, it's right about there. If it's all the way in and it sits flush, it's there. If I pull it all the way back, so it looks like I might have to go a tad bit more. I think we're good where we are. I think that's good. So let's go ahead and spin this off. And now here's where we have to be careful. I have to press this guy onto here. I can't go too far. If I go too far, then I have to press it back off again. I'm trying to just get to where I don't do that as much. I only want to do this once. I don't want to have to keep trying to press it off, press it back on, and potentially damage it. So we're going to try to do this one time and one time only. I'm going to mark this right about there, just so in case it moves, we can put it back exactly where it was. Let's try to do this, guys. Now, I got to take this off so I know exactly where to stop as I'm pressing this in. And guys, if you do this yourself, make sure you take measurements so you know exactly where to put the shaft back in, just in case it moves. And also mark where this was on the shaft. So this goes in right here. This, I want it to ride right about there. So it's only got like about 1/8 of an inch. About 1/8 of an inch or so. So basically, we're going to take this, we're going to press it on here until there's approximately 1/8 of an inch between here and this face. I could use some type of spacer, but I'm going to just eyeball it. So let's go ahead and see if we can get that thing pressed into place. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can do this. In case you want to see it, there's the piece of aluminum. And all this is actually a ferrule. It's not actually the ferrule, it's like the ring that they give you with the ferrule. So I just took one of those, I drilled it out a little larger, but you can use a piece of aluminum rod if you have one, or if you want to go out and get one. I just happened to have these, so I just went and grabbed one and was able to just open up that hole just a bit, and everything fits perfectly. So I'm going to take this, and I got to hold it in place because the hole I drilled is a little smaller. Actually, it's right about the same size as the threads, but as I've taken it on and off and on and off, it's kind of burred it up a little bit. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. Hopefully we have enough room, because this has to go here. You want to make sure you have enough room to where you're not pressing against the metal on the end there. You don't want to deform it. I'm going to take a socket, I'm going to turn it backwards. We're going to set it on top here so we maximize the surface area that's on the top edge here. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this guy pressed into place. All right, so make sure it's as straight upright as you can get it. I think that looks pretty good. It's pretty good right about there. All right, I'm going to go slow to start. Of course, once again, the rod is all the way up. You can take your collar off and adjust it. I think that's what I'm about to do. So, right about there. Right about there. Looks pretty good right there. Let me check from this side. Oh no, no. That's probably pretty good. So I'm going to press this down until I have about 1/8 of an inch between here and here. All right, I'm going to hold it right there, and we're going to call that good. Let's go ahead and test it out, see how it feels. That actually took a little bit more force than I anticipated. There you go. This one goes in here like this. I don't know that that's enough. I think we might need to go a little more. Let's test it out, see. I think we need to go a little more than that. I lost the metal piece. Don't think that was enough. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put this back on. Actually, I'm not even gonna do that yet. We're just gonna hold it in place. Take a look. Oh, no, 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 that's not enough. Looks pretty close right back there. I think I might have to move the arm again. Let's try that. We may have to push the shaft through this way a little bit more, because I don't know that we have much room to move it back in any further. I had to turn backwards, guys. Oh no, see, that's not enough. It's got to go in further. And this fan has to go out here, but it has to go out enough to where it doesn't rub either. Don't forget to put the little piece of aluminum on there. Using aluminum just to help protect the threads. All right, here we go. That's it, I'm stopping right there. Now, if that's still not enough, If that's still not enough, what we'll have to do is press this through this way some more, and then press it down again this way. And here we go again. This time I'm going to screw it together because I think we might be right about there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slide this guy on like so, make a little sandwich. And then there are 2 long screws, and they go through here like so. Just like that. And then this goes in just like that. And then we're going to take 2 of these ones, and we're going to put these in, and then we're going to give it a test. Keep your fingers crossed. Oh guys, I think we got it. Spin that guy on. Oh, I forgot it's a reverse spin in. It spins in reverse. Oh no. It's a little wobbly for some reason. So we're close, guys. I think we still need to come out just a hair. Oh yeah, we still have a good, yeah, let's come out a little more. We can come out more because we still have a good 1/8 of an inch of space between the outside ring and here. So I'm going to push it out just a hair more. I also need to see if I can straighten that out. It's kind of bent. It might have got bent during the process of trying to remove everything. I don't want to ever have to do this again. One time's enough, but for a $380 or $400 unit, I'm at least going to give it a try one time, you know? Come on, stinker. So just gently pull this out. Don't pull too hard because you don't want to rip the spring out of the housing here, because then you'll be doing the same thing to that one, repairing it. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to push this side down. Ooh, how am I going to do that now? Oh no, guys. So I'm going to kind of put it right here like this. I'm going to try to press down on that edge without breaking anything. And of course our little bar is being uncooperative because it's right in the wrong place. It didn't seem to require as much force to press this on the shaft as it did to press the bearing down. Yeah, look at that, guys. We did it. We did it. We did it. That was easy. All right, let's see if we can. Hopefully the arm is in a good position. It is not. It is in like the worst of positions now. My goodness, guys. My goodness. Okay, here we go. About another 1/16 of an inch. Can you see that? Looks pretty good. Can you see that okay? Let's try that. Uh-oh, guys. Nope, not gonna work. See how this is rubbing back here? So, no, went too far. I'm gonna push this down onto here a little further. I think we need about another 1/16 of an inch. Let's go ahead and try that. I'm gonna push this down a 1/16 of an inch and see what happens. And of course, guess what, guys? We're straight up in the air. We're straight up in the air. We're not gonna get a good pull. Right about there looks good to me. All right, let's see if it presses it down into the wood or if it presses the center of the motor down in. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Oh yeah, she went down. Let's try that. Just be careful, don't drop the motor down onto the ground. Like I said, make sure you measure. If you take it apart, measure from here to here and from here to here. And that way, yeah, make sure you get it back together properly if it moves. No trial and error like what I'm doing here. To me, that looks like we are perfect in our spacing. We have tiny, tiny bit of space between here and here. I think that's how it was originally. So let's go ahead and see what we get. All right, let's get this guy spun back on. I think we're good, guys. I think we are good. I'm gonna call that done. Well, yeah, just that part's done. Let's go ahead and take it off. Because I did notice a couple things I want to fix. One thing I noticed is this is a little loose now, and I don't know if it's from when I took it off. If I loosened up, I don't know if you can hear that or not. I want to see if I can fix that. Let's see what we can do. Oh, you're not gonna believe it, guys. You're not gonna believe it. It's straight up and down again. How does that happen? Let's give it a try. Give it a little tappy tap. Oh, that's tight now. That's tight. Okay, we don't want to go too tight to where it pulls through, but we don't want it to be too loose either. So I'm just going to give it a little tap on the handle. That's it. A little tappy tap on the handle. Just like so. Let's see what we got. Oh, she couldn't tighten now. The question is she still straight or is she wobbly? Let's see if she's wobbly. I'm gonna take the motor off. All right. Let's see how wobbly she is. All right, so that's bottomed out. A little wobbly, but not too bad. Let's see if we can figure out where the wobble is. This is going to be hard, but we're gonna see if we can find it. Let's see. I think we found it. Right there's the wobble. This is me accidentally hitting it, but I hit it 3 times right there, so it's got a wider line. So the wobble's right there. We got to figure out how to bend that back over. Ooh, I made it worse. Should have just left it. All right, I'm gonna leave it. I think once it gets spinning, centrifugal force will straighten it out. What do you guys think? Let's leave it right there. I don't know about you, but I think I'm gonna call that done. I'm gonna reassemble it. I'm not gonna put any epoxy or anything on there. I don't know what it had on originally. based on the direction that it's spinning, it should never come off. It should hold itself in. And the thought also is, if there is epoxy on there, the heat from cooking should cause it to, solidify, or to soften and solidify again. So if not, guys, we'll take it apart again. I really don't want to, but hey, we will. So let's go ahead. Let's get this whole thing back together. So now I am going to give these a little extra tighten. That way they won't loosen up on us later. There are 4 of these. Get those in there. Now don't tighten them down. Just start them first. See, that one felt like it got tight. Well, may not be anything you can do about it. Alrighty, there it is. Oh, we gotta fix this one too. This one got kind of goofed up, but I don't think I'm gonna use that machine to do it. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I don't think that's the way I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna set it on top of one of those, but I'm gonna put that on a block of wood. Like so. And then we're gonna center that on there, and then we're gonna take the punch. And there's also a couple notches here, so I'm gonna line those up with the notches. And then we're gonna take the punch, and we're gonna punch it. Oh no, it didn't tighten it up. It didn't tighten it up. What's up with that? Well, I'm gonna go around, hit them up anyway. We'll put it back together. I think it'll be okay. All right, so I wasn't happy with how this fan was sitting on the bushing. So I took it down to the press. I just pressed each of these little pre-pressed pieces that were previously pressed, and I pressed them down a little more. And the ones that were in the little notches, I pressed them really good so they smushed out into the notch. And now it's on there good and tight, and it's not going anywhere. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get this one spun on. Feels good. Beautifuls. Let's do the one on the back. It's gonna be interesting because I'm gonna have to hold it from the outside through that little tiny screw there. Ah, she's gonna spin too. Oh, got it. We got it. Yes. Guys, I'm gonna call that sufficient. I'm gonna call that sufficient. All right, so while testing, I noticed that this fan was spinning off the shaft and then spinning back on as the motor started up. So we're definitely gonna have to put some epoxy on here. I'm gonna use some high heat epoxy. It's good up to 550 degrees, which you're never gonna see inside of this toaster oven. So we're gonna go ahead and use that. I am gonna put some on the outside as well as the inside, because when I took this apart after initial use, it actually had spun off about halfway. So it definitely needs the epoxy on there. And probably the best thing to do is to use a high temperature one. Don't know if it's overkill or not, but we're gonna put it on because it is an issue if you don't. All right, so let's go ahead and mix this up a little tiny bit of epoxy. Doesn't have to be much, I'm just gonna put a little dab on there. So there you go, JB Weld high heat epoxy. And they just had this in the hardware store. Okay, so if you saw that right there, way more of the black came out than the lighter color. That's not gonna work. Ooh, this stuff stinks. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to discard this. Man, guys, epoxy stinks. I used it in the kitchen one time. Holy cow, it stunk so bad. My wife was not happy with me. So that's way more than what we're going to need. This is reusable, has a little cap. Put that back on it. Save that for another time. This is way too much, but not much we can do about it. So basically mix that up until it turns gray. All right, there's that. I'm gonna set that aside. Let's go ahead and do, it doesn't matter which one. Let's do the inside one first. So I'm just gonna take a little bit. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. I'm gonna do maybe halfway up on the threads. I'm just going to take a piece of paper and I'm going to use it to kind of help push it in. Just like so. So just a little bit. Let me try to get a better picture with my phone. It's about halfway up. Some of it's going to get it pushed out as we slide the fan on. Not much we can do about that. Make sure you put it on the right way. It goes on this way with the big opening on the outside. So I'm going to spin this on. I'm going to spin it off one time. I just want to make sure that it didn't push all of it out and onto the shaft. Oh no, so that looks pretty good. I think that'll hold pretty good. I'm going to put a tiny bit more back on there just to make sure we have enough. Just like so. Alrighty, let's go ahead and spin her on. Oops, almost put her on backwards. There we go. And if you want to, you can take your screwdriver just to make sure it's on there tight enough. Let's do the same thing on this one. Guys, now, if you ever need to get it off again, you might have to use some heat. So this is 550 degree epoxy. So you're probably going to need some heat if you ever want to remove these again. So as you saw in the video, I did use heat. So I did need heat to get it off. All right, that's it. This should be cured enough within an hour. So I am going to wait an hour. Obviously, for me, it's going to take an hour. For you, it's going to be right now. I want to prop this up off of this fan so we don't bend the fan on the other side. Well, I can't find a 2x4, but I found an anvil. That'll work. What you guys think? You think that'll work? Right about there. Alrighty, we are getting close. So let's go ahead and bend that down, bend this one down. And I think we can drop these in. Like so. So this is held in with these 3 tabs. And then when you screw it into the side, it gets pulled together and holds it all the way in. All right, so I'm gonna take a pair of pliers. I'm gonna bend that under, bend this one under over here. And then there's one up here that gets bent under. And it's probably not a big deal if you don't bend these under again because, like I said, I think it's really just for assembly that this part matters. It just holds everything together for assembly. There it is, guys. There it is. Holy cow. We did it. All right. I got to get all this stuff out of the way. We'll go ahead and get it back together. Nice. All right, I've got her back in place. Let's go ahead and turn her on and see how she sounds. Oh yes, she's fixed. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. God, she's fixed. Perfect. Let me go get some toilet paper and I'll show you the airflow coming out of there too. Be right back. All right, let's see what we've got. Yeah, look at that, guys. It's working. Fixed it. You guys did it. Awesome. Beautifuls. All right, guys, there you have it. Pretty simple. I'm just kidding. That wasn't simple. That was quite difficult to get it apart, get it all put back together, and get everything working. But in the end, we did get it. In any case, I hope you guys can use this video to fix your Breville convection oven / air fryer combo. And as always, I want to thank you for watching. Kevin's Way works. Uh-oh.